Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to the Sports Ball Talk Show. I am here with Gian and Frank, as always. We're going to start
What's
off
up?
with the World Cup because it's over, and we're a football first show. But yeah, hey, see that jersey? Argentina won. I called it. Gian called it. Frank called it because we are geniuses when it comes to sports. Some people thought France because they have Mbappe, but Mbappe is not good enough. Take no credit away from France. They kicked ass. They played very very well, but Argentina took it, and I think everyone's kind of happy about that. Couple things to talk about here. One, this kind of solidifies Messi as the greatest of all time because this is the one thing that he had not said he could not claim that he had done. He has a massive list of accolades. I have a short list of them here next to Messi holding the trophy. I have a list of just some of his awards. I think there's like 15 or 20 on that one picture, and that's not even half. But I just wanted to showcase how many awards this guy has won because he's just that much of a monster when it comes to soccer or football if you're not from America. But yeah, what do you guys think? What are your thoughts about the whole World Cup?
Gian, I'll defer to you on this one.
Honestly, I've been a fan of Argentina since I've been 7 years old. I've been following them my whole life. I've been waiting for this after a devastating loss to Germany a while back, at the Brazil World Cup, and then the World Cup prior to that, to the loss against France in the World Cup in Russia, and now they finally won this World Cup. I couldn't have been any happier. Um, so seeing Messi finally get that, and with all the teams, even Kun Aguero and other teammates of his that weren't a part of this team, they all got together. They all celebrated for Messi. They finally did it. A lot of them grew up together, playing with each other for so many years, and they finally did it. I'm so happy. Shout out to McAllister and DePaul. You guys played phenomenal in that final. You guys played your asses off. Shout out to Julian Alvarez putting that pressure. What a young talented man. Argentina overall, they played their hearts out. And credit where credit's due. France did play well over the course of the entire cup. Obviously, they were plagued with some people were sick over the course of the tournament, but they still powered through. It was a phenomenal match. Had me at the edge of my seat. A lot of highs and lows of that match for me, but man,
Yeah,
Argentina, congratulations! You
I mean,
guys.
Yeah, that was a crazy match because Argentina got up early 2-0, and then within, I think, 3 minutes, France came back and scored two goals, went to overtime. They each scored a goal, and then it went to penalties, which I had said this during the beginning of the Cup whenever we were all just hanging out. I was like, there seems like a lot more games going to penalties than ever before. And you guys are like, yeah, it tends to happen, but this World Cup actually set a record for most games gone to penalty shootouts of any World Cup. I think there's been one, but it was like decades and decades ago that went to as many as this one, and especially the finals was specifically a historic moment going to the penalty shootouts in the finals. But yeah, I think what you said with like everyone else being happy, that's kind of nice thing about the World Cup because it's not even just the people who played; it's for the whole country, and that's kind of why people I think get around the World Cup more so than any other sporting event is because you're representing your whole country there, and that's something that even if you don't play for the team, you just root for them, or if you were part of the team at one time, you help them get on the map where they were, get some national attention. It's something that matters to everyone who has been a part of that team, even if you weren't a part of the one that won. But the other thing I want to highlight is the goalie for Argentina, Martinez. I feel like everyone's been talking about Messi. Obviously, he's a goat of soccer. He deserves it. But Argentina's goalie was playing his ass off the entire tournament, and he won them some of those games. It was on his back that they won, especially, and then not even just the penalty shootout with the World Cup finals where he blocked too many of France's goals, and then Argentina's obviously their offense is able to get on there and score some. But throughout the whole tournament, he was very very good. I think he was probably one of, if not the best goalie that played, and that's a big part of the reason why they won because obviously you can score as many goals as you want, but if you're not blocking any and having a good goalie that can stop them, it doesn't really matter. Defense is what wins championships. Soccer's a little bit different, but the same thing still goes. If you don't have a goalie that can consistently block shots, then you're not going to win, and that was proven here whenever they went to the penalty shootouts. And France, they made a couple, but it just wasn't enough because Argentina made more, and then Argentina's goalie Martinez was able to block a lot. So props to him, props to Messi, props to everyone on that Argentina team, and glad for you guys. You guys were able to get this. The other thing I want to say about this whole thing is that in less than a day, Messi broke the record for most liked Instagram post. his Instagram post.
That egg no longer stands.
The egg got blown out. If honestly, it was by a lot. I think it was by over 10 million more likes. But I'll go find the exact current count. It's currently at 67.5 million likes. And this is 2 days ago that he posted this, and it beat it after not even a full day. But even Guinness World Record commented and said that they've officially broken the world record and will be recognized in the Guinness World Record book for the most liked photo. And I think it's fitting. It's like we said all along, this is going to be one of the most viewed World Cups of all time, and especially Messi getting that win. I think it's such a historic moment, just culturally for the entire world. And so, not surprised that it beat the egg, and I'm glad it beat the egg because I was never on the hype train for that egg. I always thought it was stupid. But this is something that matters. People look back at Instagram history when Instagram was a dead platform, like what's the most liked post? And it's going to be Messi after winning his World Cup a little bit before he retires, and all will be at peace with the world. So that was about it for the World Cup. It was great this year. A lot of good games, but Argentina pulled it out, and I think we're all happy about that. So we'll go and move on. I think the next thing we should talk about, kind of before we jump into the specifics, is to talk about the NFL playoff picture. There's a lot of teams that are still in this thing, and this is the last week it's going to really be like that. There's 3 games left to play for each of these teams. Right now, there are 26 teams still in playoff contention. 26 teams that can still make the playoffs. I have them all listed here for the AFC on the left, or the AFC on the right, and the NFC on the left. I probably should have switched those, but whatever. So what it means basically, whenever it has an X next to their name, like as a little little hat sign next to the right of their name, it means they've clinched a playoff spot. If they have a Z, it means they've clinched their division. So the Eagles have clinched a playoff spot, but not their division, because let's say they lose out and the Cowboys win out, the Cowboys would win the division. But they are going to make a playoff spot no matter what. They will at least get a wild card spot, but they'll probably win the division. Same thing with the Bills, but obviously the Chiefs, Niners, and Vikings have secured their spot and the division lead. But what do you guys think? We're going to basically just talk about this and see what we think is going to happen. We can give our predictions for what we think is going to happen, and then I can tell you guys what has to happen for each team for them to make it. Like, what we can look at their schedules. We can do whatever we need to do to figure this thing out. But I guess I'll go first. I think for the NFC, it's going to be Eagles, Vikings, Niners. Obviously, those are already locks. Cowboys are already locks. What gets me mostly is the NFC South, but I think that's going to be a bigger conversation because all those teams suck, and they're all pretty even, tied at sucking. I think the Giants probably make it. They're 8-5-1 at this point. I think that they probably pull it out. They probably get another win this season and then lose 2 of the games, and they still make it. Seahawks don't make it. I think the Commanders don't make it. I think the Lions take that last playoff spot. I think it's what we've all been saying for the past few weeks. But the one team to look out for is the Green Bay Packers, because they've actually been on a bit of a hot streak the last couple weeks. We haven't talked about them in a while, and Aaron Rodgers has taken that time to brood and cook up some good game. They're currently 6-8. And if they win out, they are 9-8. And as you can see, the current playoff picture, Giants could lose out, Commanders could lose out, Seahawks, Detroit, they could all lose out, and the Packers make it. And they didn't even need them all. They didn't even need them to lose every game. Commanders can still win a game. So can the Seahawks and the Lions can still win games and still not make the playoffs, as opposed to the Packers if they do win out, because it's very, very close. So what separates them is just one win. But the NFC South, and I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this. Right now, the Bucks lead with 6-8, and then the Panthers, Saints, and Falcons are all tied at 5-9. So none of them are going to get a wild card spot, obviously, but whoever wins that division will be decided the last 3 weeks of the season, because their one win separates all 4 of these teams. What do you guys think is going to happen with that NFC South? Do you think the Bucks pull it out, or do you think the Panthers, Saints, or Falcons step it up and take over?
I think that's probably the worst division in all of football right now, to be honest. I mean, it's just so bad. None of the games have really been watchable. And when CMC got traded from the Panthers to the 49ers, I mean, I think that was the end kind of that division. We have seen Brady, just kind of stink it up this season, not do too well. The Saints have been a non-factor, even though they probably have the rookie of the offensive rookie of the year in Chris Olave. And I think overall, like, what you can kind of see in that division is that they have squandered the wealth of players that they have. There were so many great players in that division, and they just have not been able to turn it on this year. For whatever reason, but the last team too, the Falcons had a good draft last year, and I thought that they would, maybe surprise people and pull a playoff spot this year, but I don't think that will be happening. So
who do you think's winning the division then, Frank? What's your
I
pick?
think that the Saints will probably end up winning the division just because of their rookie and the fact that their offense has looked for the most part better. Let me look at who they have to play the rest of the year.
They have the Browns, Eagles, and Panthers. There's a lot of divisional games left.
I mean, they'll win probably 2 of those 3 games. I don't know who the Falcons have.
All of these games are pretty tough for every team because the Saints have to play the Browns, which the Browns' defense is just too good, even though Deshaun Watson's not played well. The Eagles are the Eagles. And then the Panthers is a coin toss. So, let's say they win one of those games. They're, all right, now they have 1 win, and they're tied with the Bucs. The Falcons, they have the Ravens, they'll probably lose that game. They have the Cardinals, coin toss, and then the Bucs, they'll probably lose that game. That puts the Falcons at 6 wins. You look at Tampa Bay, they have 1 win over the rest, so that kind of gives them a leg up. But their remaining schedule is Cardinals, Panthers, Falcons. So they'll probably beat I say probably all of those are coin tosses. So the Bucs probably have the easiest schedule because I think that they beat the Falcons.
Cardinals are not good.
They lost to the Panthers, but they beat the Falcons. So maybe the Panthers, because maybe the Panthers can squeak a win by the Bucs, and then they have the tiebreaker. And then the Saints don't really have an easy schedule either. Like I just said, it's the Browns, Eagles. Saints. Yeah, the Saints. Browns, Eagles, Panthers. So I think either way, it's going to be a 6 or 7 win team. I'm not really sure because the thing with the Falcons that I don't really know is that Desmond Ritter's playing now, and he had an iffy first game, but the Falcons' run game is just so good. And with Lamar still being out, they could squeak one by over the Ravens, and then the Cardinals was a coin toss. And if they win those 2 games, then it's like, all right, well now they have 2 more wins. So I think it's probably the Bucs because I think the story is written that way that it's the Bucs, especially when they have the 1 lead, 1 victory over the other ones. I think that as much as these teams like to lose, the other teams have to win multiple of their remaining games, and the Tampa doesn't really have to. So I think it's probably Tampa, but I pray it's not. I'd rather have the Saints or the Falcons. I don't like the Panthers either. I don't like Sam Darnold. I hate the Panthers organization. But I think it's the Bucs for me. That's my pick. So I got my NFC prediction is Eagles, Vikings, Niners, Bucs, Cowboys, Giants, Lions. That's my playoff prediction for the NFC.
I would agree with that, except I would put the Saints in there. So
okay, so you pick Saints over Bucs, but everything else is the same.
Yeah, everything else I would say is the same.
All right, what about you, Jim? What do you think for the NFC?
For the NFC, Eagles are going to. I think the Eagles clinched their division, correct?
No, they haven't clinched their division.
No, not yet.
If they'd have to lose out to not, and the Cowboys would have to win out.
Right. Yeah. So, and then you have Jalen Hurts. Well, regardless, the Eagles are going to be the Cowboys, 49ers, the Vikings. I think the Lions are going to make it, and I think the Packers are going to make it as well. Although would that be too much? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the 7th. I think it's going to be the Falcons.
You think the Falcons?
Hot take.
The Falcons take over the Bucs?
Yeah, because here's the thing. Their remaining games, the Ravens, they're still not going to have. If they don't have Lamar Jackson this week, which I don't think they will, that game is going to be a shootout. The Ravens secondary is a mess. Like you said, Falcons run game is phenomenal. And Falcons, if Desmond Ridder is going to be spending more time now with the receivers, and he develops, he can win those. Cardinals, they're without Colt McCoy now.
The Cardinals.
They're without Colt McCoy, and they're without Kyler. They're on their 3rd string quarterback now. I don't know how well that guy is going to be. I believe the Falcons' pass rush could put up a decent effort against the new quarterback. And then I think Falcons, when they host Tampa, revenge game.
Yeah, that's possible.
They send Tampa Tom to his NFL grave. He's done. He'll be done after this season.
So you think it's Eagles, Vikings, Niners, Falcons, Cowboys, and then you say Lions and Packers? It is possible for the Lions and Packers to both make it. Very hard. So essentially,
very hard,
the
but
Giants,
genuinely
Commanders, and Seahawks would have to lose. So the Giants would have to lose out because they're already at 8 wins, which not a really easy schedule. Giants got Vikings, Colts, Eagles. So the Colts is, I mean, that's a winnable game, but Colts have had some surprise upsets. But if they lost out, the Commanders lost out. The Lions would have to win 2 games and lose because the Lions play the Packers. So the Lions would have to win 2 games and then lose to the Packers. So the Lions would have 9 wins. The Packers would have 9 wins. They would have the 2 last wildcard spots if the Commanders. The Commanders could win 1 more game, and so could the Seahawks, as long as they lose the other ones, and then the Giants would have to lose out, which, like I said, that's entirely possible. So, not a bad pick. I like your pick with the Falcons because I hope it's true. But we'll move on to the AFC. The AFC, I think, is a lot tougher to discuss than the NFC. The only thing tough with the NFC is the NFC South. AFC, you got the Bills, Chiefs, Bengals, Titans, Ravens, Chargers, and Dolphins currently in the picture. And then right behind them is the Patriots and Jets at 7-7. Then you got Jaguars, Raiders, Browns, and Steelers all at 6-8. So here's what I'm thinking. I think the Bills, Chiefs, Bengals make it and win their divisions. I think that the Jaguars take the spot from the Titans. The Titans miss the playoffs altogether. The Jaguars win the division, which we're going to get into that after this. That's our next thing to talk about. But the Jaguars are getting warm. All right, they're getting real warm. I think the Jaguars take the division from the Titans. Then I think, let me check the rest of the Ravens schedule because I'm kind of counting on them losing a game.
The Ravens will lose again.
So the Ravens got the Falcons, the Steelers, and the Bengals. I personally think they're going to lose all 3.
That's tough.
I think they could lose definitely 2 out of those 3. I think they'll definitely lose to the Steelers and the Bengals. I don't know about the Falcons. I think that's kind of a stretch, but I think the Falcons have the benefit of playing more together like that, and Tyler Huntley has been doing atrocious.
Well, the thing that I got to think about is
somehow outstunk the Browns last week. So.
Well, the thing is, with the Ravens is that they do have more wins than all the other wildcard teams. They're currently at 9-5. The other 2 wildcard spots are Chargers and Dolphins at 8-6. So even if the Ravens lost out, they could still make the playoffs, and I don't think they lose out. I think they win one of those games. I gotta imagine they win at least one of those games. Maybe not because they did suck last week. That's tough, dude. The Ravens is a very tough one to call. I think the Chargers probably make it because they're sitting pretty right now at 8-6. I think that they have managed to figure it out enough to make the playoffs. The rest of their schedule is Colts, Rams, Broncos. Those are all very winnable games for them. So I think the Chargers make it. I think they probably move up to the 5 seed. The Chargers, I think they probably win out and end up going 11-6, take the 5th seed. The Dolphins have a kind of tough schedule, but I still think they make the playoffs. They've been having this thing. We talked about it before we started. They have this thing where they win a few and lose a few. They lost the last 3 in a row. Before that, they won 5 in a row. Before that, they lost 3 in a row. Before that, they won 3 in a row. So they have kind of this thing. I think they're going to go back to winning. They got the Packers, which with Deion's Packers pick, they have to lose to the Packers for the Packers to make it. But personally, I think the Dolphins beat the Packers, they beat the Patriots, and beat the Jets. I think they might lose one of those games, but I think they win at least 2 of them and finish with 10 wins at the 6th seed. And then the 7th seed is, I think, either the Ravens or the Patriots. I think the Jets' time is over.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
I don't think that Zach, babyface Zach, is really going to be doing anything.
No,
with
but the Patriots.
how he played this.
No,
last
I don't think
week.
I
It's just been so garbage. I don't think the
Patriots,
Jets are going to make it in.
The Patriots play the Bengals, Dolphins, and Bills. I feel like the Patriots lose out, right? I mean, that's a really
that's
tough
true.
schedule.
That
Let me
is a
check the
pretty tough
Jets
schedule.
real quick. The Jets.
I
don't see the Jets because they've kind of lost it. They play the Jaguars, Seahawks, and Dolphins. I think they lose out as well. Maybe the Seahawks. They beat the Seahawks. Okay, then we're going to I guess the Ravens. Yeah, I guess the Ravens are my 7th seed with 9 wins, maybe 10 wins. It is possible for the Raiders to come in there. I don't think they would take the tiebreaker from Baltimore if they tied. I don't really know how that would work. I don't think they played. They didn't play each other, did they? Vegas and Ravens.
I'm not
Maybe
sure.
Let me look back real quick.
I'm taking a look right now.
They did not play each other.
They did not, yeah.
So then how does the tiebreaker... Well, okay, the Raiders have to play the Steelers, Niners, and Chiefs are losing. Okay, yeah, I'm going to pick Ravens as my 7th seed. I think it's going to be Chargers 5 seed, and then Dolphins and Ravens are going to be 6 and 7 for me. What do you guys think for your playoff? And then like the Jaguars, I think are going to make it in, and the Titans actually. I forgot about them. Let me look at their schedule because they could get booted from the 4 seed, but still make a wild card spot. They're sitting right there tied with the Patriots and the Jets, so they might have an easy enough schedule that if they win, 1 or 2 games, they make it. Which the Titans have sucked lately.
Yeah, Titans are playing the Texans, and then they play the Cowboys and the Jags. I honestly think they're only going to beat the Texans and then lose to the Cowboys.
I kind of think Texans might be an upset this week, dude, because, let's see, the Titans have lost the last 4 in a row against the Chargers, Jags, Eagles, and Bengals. Before that, they beat the Broncos and Green Bay. Then they lost to the Chiefs. They won against the Texans by only 7 points, and they were a lot better of a team than they are now. And then they was kind of back and forth all season, but they've lost 4 in a row. Which they've been good teams, Bengals, Eagles, Jaguars, and Chargers, but I don't know, dude. I mean, maybe I think the last spot is going to be some mix of Dolphins, Ravens, and Titans, but I think it's probably Dolphins and Ravens. I don't think the Titans end up making it. I feel like even if they win one game, they're at 8.
The Titans do not end up making it.
Yes, even if they win one game, they're at 8. The Dolphins and the Chargers and the Ravens, I mean, they're all better. So yeah, no, that's my pick. Yeah, Ravens, Chargers, and Dolphins. What about you guys? What do you think for the AFC?
I would take the Bills, the Chiefs, Bengals, the Chargers, Dolphins. I guess the Ravens. And I'll take the Patriots because I don't think the Jets are going to do anything.
So wait, who do you have winning the AFC South?
The Jags.
Okay, so you have Bills, Chiefs, Bengals, Jags, Ravens, Chargers, and Patriots?
Yeah.
So you think the Dolphins are going to miss it?
That's disrespectful, dog. Nah, we're going to make that.
I don't know. We'll see. I got to have some kind of hot take.
Hey, that's fine, dude. That's fine. Hey, Tua loses out, and hey, we'll see. What do you think, Gian? What's your pick?
Well, first and foremost, I think that was an atrocious call. The Dolphins are making the playoffs.
That's possible.
They're only one loss away from
Bills,
being out of that thing. They could lose next week, and then they're out of contention for the week.
Oh, no. I think it's going to be the Bills. I think there is a chance that Green Bay, because I feel like Aaron Rodgers is on his rise back, it might be the Dolphins, but I feel like the Dolphins will win out against the Patriots and the Jets, shut them out completely. So I think it's going to be Bills, Dolphins, Chiefs, Chargers, Bengals, Ravens, and then the Jags are winning the AFC South.
Okay, so we're all pretty similar on that one. That AFC was actually easier than I expected it to be. I think we're all kind of on the same page of who's getting warm and who's not. So that's it. We'll probably talk about this again next week, and this list will be half. I think like all of the AFC teams, like that's not the Jaguars. And the ones who are already in this spot are gonna be eliminated. I think the Steelers, Browns, and Raiders will probably eliminated. I think the Jets and Patriots will be enough on their way out that it's like whatever. And I think that on the NFC side, I think the Packers will probably lose, and then they'll be pretty much eliminated. I think the Seahawks probably lose, and the Commanders probably lose. I don't know who they're playing, by the way. I haven't talked about that yet. So just thinking about assuming they play like a decent team, they lose, and then they're kind of getting out of it. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Yes, that's good. Yeah, we'll talk about this again as we get closer, obviously, but that's solid for that. No, we're going to go and talk about a big story. The Jaguars and the Lions. Huge story, all right? This is primarily going to be about the Jaguars, because we talk about the Lions every single week, which I love the Lions, love MCDC, Jared Goff, beautiful people. But I want to talk about the Jags because they're kind of doing exactly what the Lions did, but like a week later of a start. They're kind of having a Cinderella story coming back. So right here, I have the stats of Trevor Lawrence the past 6 weeks. You can see 4 wins, 2 losses. Statistically, he has been the best quarterback in the NFL the past 6 weeks. You can see a stat line right there. You can see how he has thrown 13 touchdowns and 1 interception. He's had a very high completion percentage and a very high amount of yards every single game, with the exception of the Lions. Again, that's the only game he played bad against. Every single quarterback rating is over 100. He has 109, 121, 129, 106, 109. Like I said, minus the Detroit game. But here are some quarterbacks that he is playing better statistically in the last 6 weeks. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa. I didn't even bother bringing up any other quarterbacks because I don't think anyone outside of that list is considered best in the league besides those few. Trevor Lawrence has played better than all of them the past 6 weeks, which is enough of, I think, of a sample size to indicate that he is that guy. Now, I said before I wasn't the biggest fan of Trevor Lawrence. Just, watching him, I don't get that feeling when I watch him like I do someone else that I think is going to be a young stud. But I've always said that I appreciate his grit. I like how he talks in the locker room. He's a good leader. And the way he takes accountability for the losses, I love it. I think he's a good leader. He is proving anyone wrong who even had a doubt, which I don't think there was many people. I think everyone kind of wrote off his last year because of Urban Meyer and what Urban Meyer did, which, hey, we're not even going to talk about that. But you guys know what Urban Meyer did. You know what he did to people at his personal bar and to his kicker that he kicked. Just decided to kick as one of his players. Horrible coach. I am on the same page of forgiving his rookie year. Like I said, as a guy who's not a big Trevor Lawrence fan, I am as fair as I can be to everyone, and I'm not going to count that against him because that was just not his fault. But their offense has been rolling. They have scored a lot of points. They beat Dallas scoring 40 points. They beat Titans scoring 36 points. They beat the Ravens scoring 28 points. And they beat the Raiders scoring 27 points. They lost to the Chiefs and lost to the Lions. But the Chiefs are a powerhouse team, and the Lions are, I say, a powerhouse team at this point. They've won 6 of the last 7. They're kind of going off. So Trevor Lawrence has played his ass off, and I think that the Cinderella story of the AFC and NFC is the Lions and the Jaguars. And what do you guys think are the odds that they both make the Super Bowl? Because at this point, it's possible. They're both really hot right now. They both are in the bubble for playoffs. What do you think happens to the NFL world if the Jaguars and the Lions make it to the Super Bowl and play against each other? What do you think happens then? What does that do to people?
I think we have a new contender for most unwatched Super Bowl in the modern era. I mean, I don't.
You think that'd be least watched?
That will happen, but if it did happen, I don't think there's that many Detroit or Jags fans, to be honest. I mean, maybe I'll get some angry people in the comments that are like, Gian, did you have something to say?
No, I'm raising my hand because I actually do like both the Jags and the Lions.
I do too, dude. At this point, I do.
No, I mean, I think
like them both.
that people, some people maybe enjoy watching them if they're on, but I'm not. If there is a Lions game, that's on, or a Chargers game, I think, sure, maybe I'll watch the Lions game over the Chargers game. But that's only because I'm from the Midwest. I'm from Ohio, right? So, they're close to home. I don't think the average NFL football fan really cares that much about the Lions, other than the fact that they've really stunk it up, the last 10 years. And both of those franchises have really been pretty much, I mean, a step above the Browns, but in the same conversation, mentioned in that same breath, maybe not the Jags so much as, the Lions, but they just have been kind of notorious for.
I see what you're saying, and I think I agree with you. You're saying they don't have a fan base like the Bills and the Bengals and the Chiefs and stuff like that, where people tune in to watch them every week. What I think they have. And this is where I think Gian and I both fall, and where a lot of people fall in. It's not for a casual NFL viewer, or people who really like watching football. We love when we see teams like this get good, because they're not teams that we love or hate. They're teams we just feel mad about. And when they get in there and start kicking ass, it's just awesome to watch, because you don't ever expect it. I feel bad for both fan bases. I think that they both need it. I love watching them as opposed to, let's say, the Packers get in there for the 8th time just to choke an NFC Championship game. So I like it. I love watching that. Their play of football. I think it's awesome to watch this kind of underdog story happen. It reminds me of when the Giants went and beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl after the Patriots' undefeated season, and there's kind of the scrappy, barely made it in Giants team. It's yeah, they're all right. They lost the Patriots in the regular season. Well, how do they even make it to the Super Bowl? And then they went in there and kicked ass. So I think it's kind of that same thing. I think it's one of those where, if your team's eliminated and you just need someone to root for, it's one of these two teams, because you just like them as opposed to the other guys who are as opposed to the guys who make the playoffs every year. It's let's get something new and let's put the Lions in the NFC Championship game. That's not something you've heard in your entire lifetime. So that's something that I think people would prefer to hear than Eagles and Cowboys. Whatever. Those two teams are good. We knew that. But I think I agree with they don't have as good of deep fan bases, but I think that they have the people that don't have that if your team's eliminated, you're going to go for one of those two teams as opposed to someone else because those two teams are just good. But yeah, I wanted to talk about that. We kind of talked about the Jaguars making it in a minute ago, but yeah, I wanted to just demonstrate this because I think that the Jaguars make the playoffs. I think they probably win out the rest of this season, but they can even lose a game and still make it because the Titans just suck. But I think the Jaguars do it. I don't know who they're going to be playing against. If they make it, probably play it against the Chiefs. No, they'd be the 4th seed, not the 7th seed. They probably play against the Chargers. Maybe that'd be a good game. Jags Chargers. I mean,
oh yeah,
be a high scoring game.
Jags
very
would take
pass
that
heavy.
after. I think the Jags would take that game if they played the Chargers, because I don't think that the offense has been reliable enough on the Chargers' part to. And just with how hot the
here's
Jags
the
have been, I
thing,
think
Frank. They played against each other in Week 3. The Jaguars and the Chargers did.
Okay.
And it was a blowout.
What happened with that?
It was a blowout.
Really?
38-10.
In favor of the Chargers?
The Jaguars, dude. The Jaguars beat them 38-10. So you're right.
Yeah.
I think you are 100% right, Frank. I think that if they play, then the Jaguars probably win. I mean, I think both teams are better now than they were then, but I think the Jaguars have gotten more better than the Chargers have gotten better. If that makes sense. I think you know what I'm saying.
Justin Herbert has also been playing injured with that rib injury that I think people have forgotten about, but he's still there. If you've been playing for maybe 5 weeks, I think, with that injury to the ribs and not giving it any rest, which I think it was a terrible decision on the doctor's part to allow him to do that, but if you've been doing that and aggravating that, it's kind of like Baker Mayfield last season for the Browns. He was playing with a torn labrum, and if you don't give things time to heal, I think that affects your play, and I think we're seeing that.
Well, here's the other thing as well. Like, obviously the Chargers have one of the best receiving corps in the NFL, and they've been dealing with injuries with that, but they're healthy now, and they've been playing better with them. So when I say what I'm about to say, I don't mean it to take away from the Chargers, but the Jaguars their passing game has been insane the past few weeks. Zay Jones, I want to talk about specifically. Christian Kirk, we know is a guy. I think people hated that he got paid too much this offseason, but he's still a really good wide receiver one. He's a great fit for that team. Evan Ingram proved that he can do it, 2 weeks ago.
Travis
Etienne. He was
Etienne.
kind of a bum on the Giants, dropping easy balls, but he kind of proved that he can do it on the Jaguars this year. You got Zay Jones. Let me tell you something about Zay Jones. I have him in 2 fantasy leagues, and he scored me over 30 points. 6 catches for 109 yards and 3 touchdowns. So you have a situation where you're not relying on one receiver to catch everything. If you got a guy like Jalen Ramsey, Xavier Howard, one of these top-tier cornerbacks covering Christian Kirk. You got Zay Jones who can go out there and get 3 touchdowns a game and make plays like that. So I just don't see what's stopping this Chargers offense. I mean, I don't understand how they lost to the Lions because the Lions have a horrible defense. I don't know what happened there. That was an anomaly because that's like the worst defense in the NFL is the Lions, and they managed to only score 14 points on them. So I don't understand. But when they play good teams like Dallas, Titans, Ravens, they beat them. And they beat them good. Very high volume pass offense, very good, very efficient. So I think that if they play the Chargers, I think it's a closer game than 38-10. But I think that it is a game that goes into the Jaguars' favor. I don't know. I think that's what the story leads me to believe is that. And then after that, I mean, I can't even begin to predict who they play after that because there's so many other games that have to fall into place. But they probably play the Chargers there. Maybe the Ravens. If the Ravens end up, winning out, then they play the Ravens, and they beat the Ravens earlier this season. That was a very good game, actually.
Yeah.
Jaguars Ravens, and you could say, that was a bad call on some of those, which I agree some of those are bad calls, but either way they beat him, and Trevor Lawrence had a 129.8 passer rating. So Trevor Lawrence played great against the Ravens. And I think they're better now than they were then as well. Zay Jones has stepped up, Evan Ingram has stepped up, so I think the Cinderella stories are great. I love that we have one for the AFC and the NFC. Some people thought it might be the Browns, but I think that because Deshaun Watson's leading that, they can't have a Cinderella story because it's like, a Cinderella story, but he might. I'm going to say might because, I don't want to levy any accusations, but he might have touched people. So, Deshaun Watson's...
But it's pervy.
Yeah, they might have done that, but, who knows. Anyway, so that's about that. I just wanted to brag about Trevor Lawrence for a second because, like I said, I'm tough, but I'm fair, all right? I'm not a huge Trevor Lawrence guy, but he has played his ass off, and We are a source of information for you guys, and I would be dishonest if I didn't talk about how good he's been playing, and I think we all agree on that. Even if we don't like a guy, we got to talk about how good they do, right? So we're going to move on to the bum of the week. I'm very sad about this bum of the week. Very, very sad about it. Jakobi Meyers. Now, the Patriots were a team. Nah, they're not my team, but I like them. You know, if I had to pick someone to make the 7th seed in the AFC wildcard spot, I'm like, yeah, Patriots, that's fine. I don't think they're going to do it anymore. Not because they lost this one game and that says that they're a bad team, but because I think them losing this game kind of puts them out of contention. This is one of those games that was probably a, air quotes, free win for them compared to some of the other games where they kind of needed to win this one to make the playoffs because they got a lot of tough games ahead, but they lost to the Raiders, and very close, good game. It was 34-34 as the last play of the game happened. It was Patriots on offense, and you know, usually you think, you know, like maybe try to take a Hail Mary shot at the end zone because it's too far for the field goal attempt. Maybe, you know, you just try to run it up the side and see if you can get somewhere. I don't know, you know, you try something, or you just go down and go to overtime because, like, hey, let's just go down, keep our players fresh, go to overtime. That's all they did. Handed off the ball to Rashondre Stevenson. He runs up. He laterals the ball because he's about to get tackled after getting a pretty good gain, by the way. And so I'm sitting there watching this lateral. I'm like, you know what? Not a bad idea, I guess. I love when, like, you know, big laterals work, but, you know, once you throw it back and the second guy's covered, just go down, you know, go to overtime, win it then. That's not what happened. Jakobi Meyers took the ball and threw it like 20 yards backwards into the hands of Chandler Jones, who, if you didn't know, is a defensive player for the Raiders. Chandler Jones takes that ball and runs it into the end zone and scores as time expires, and the Raiders win. Now, the reason he's the bum of the week is because that cost him the game. And like I said, we want to try and stay away from whole teams because that's just kind of meh. You know, let's be more specific about these bums of the week. This is what we created this segment for. Specific plays like this where one guy just blows it, and that was Jakobi Meyers. He threw the ball straight to a defensive end. We could have just gone to overtime, and you know, Patriots have a solid defense and a solid offense. They probably could have gone out there and kicked a field goal or something. Maybe they lose in overtime, but at least it's not the fault of one guy. The one thing that I do want to say about this is I like how he handled it afterwards. He went back to the locker room, got interviewed, and was like, hey, that was my fault. I made a horrible play. I'm super sorry. He didn't try to like, oh, it's not my fault. I couldn't see. I was trying to throw to this guy, and this guy just didn't get open. He's like, that was my fault. I made a horrible play. That's on me. My bad. You know, I'm sorry. And as we've discussed on this show probably every week, we all love when guys take accountability. That's a massive piece of being on a team and being a valued, loved member of the team is taking accountability when it's your fault that you did something, and he did that. So that's why I'm sad to call him Bum of the Week, because if it were anyone else that didn't take credit, then, man, we would be digging into this guy. But I'm sad to say it because he is such a great guy, such a good team player. He's a very reliable receiver back there and up there in New England. So it's sad, but, you know, he made a horrible play, and so he's Bum of the Week. The other thing I wanted to talk about, a little bit more of a positive note, this is probably the only bum of the week we'll talk positively about.
Yeah. I don't know that there's much else that you can say about that, too. I mean, it's just a
That's
bum
just what
play.
the play was, you know. It's just how it happened. But the other thing, along with Jakobi Meyers taking credit, there was several other people in the Patriots offense that were on the same wavelength. Mac Jones is like, yeah, that was my fault. I didn't tackle Chandler Jones. You know, I could have tackled him and gone to overtime. It's like, yeah, it's a little bit your fault, too, because you could have tackled him, but you didn't. It's like, it's a little bit Jakobi Meyers' fault because he didn't have to throw a pick. And I think Rashondre Stevenson said the same thing. It was one other player. It might not have been Stevenson, but said the same thing. He's like, you know, I didn't have to do that. I could have done this instead. And so there was a few guys on this team that were taking the blame for it. And once again, love to see that. But the only other thing I want to mention about this, and I'm kind of angry at Bill Belichick for it. Bill Belichick was asked, hey, why not just take a shot at the end zone? And he's like, oh, we can't throw it that far. You kidding me? Mac Jones can't throw it that far? Yes, he can, and he has. Mac Jones has thrown balls that far. So, I don't understand what he was saying then. 1. 2, even if he can't go down, or 1, let him wind up. Because, like, if you're setting up for a Hail Mary, he's not going to get sacked. Their O-line is pretty freaking good, and they're not going to rush, you know, a ton of defenders. They're going to probably drop back and go make plays in the back. So, maybe he throws a pick, but it doesn't really matter because the time expires and you're trying to make a play. But maybe he throws it to the 5-yard line and the guy's able to catch it and fall backwards, get into the end zone, and make a touchdown. Either way, I don't know why Bill Belichick said that he can't throw it that far because he's done it. He's thrown balls that far before, so I don't get it. But that's what Bill Belichick said, and he's a genius, but I don't get it. So, whatever. That's it for Bum of the Week. This is a brief one. Like I said, I don't like doing what we're doing right now. It pains me to do this, but needed to
Well,
happen.
especially to a player like Jacoby Myers, who's had a lot of difficulties in the past few weeks with like injuries and stuff like that. I mean, you can't really be too harsh on him. It's not like a, Zach Wilson type bum of the week or,
Yeah.
Russell Wilson bum of the week where they're clearly just bums. But,
Yeah.
this was just a bad play.
I
on
miss
his
when it was
part.
Zach Wilson, when it was a bad player and
Yeah.
he acted like a brat outside of the game, and it was
I
just
mean, he's
easy.
still doing that, but we can't recycle him. So
Yeah, we're not going to recycle. So, but that's it for Bum of the Week. We're going to go ahead and move on to our picks for this week because you love hearing our picks. And, hey, good ones this week.
especially my picks.
What?
I'm probably in last place still. I said you love hearing my picks, but especially my picks because I'm in last place, so you know what not to pick.
Yeah, so I'm going to just recap this past week. So, Gian and I did very well. We both went 11-5. We tied again because Gian and I tend to do that. I picked 2 right that he picked wrong, and then he picked 2 right that I picked wrong. I called the Colts-Browns game right, and he called the Raiders and Packers games correct, and I didn't. So, pretty even there. We both went 11-5, and Frank went 8-8. So, really not that bad. He went even at 8-8,
okay.
but still, just because Gian and I are doing really good, it's... Frank's kind of falling out of it. But anyway, the
Yeah.
total records are the same point differential as before. I am 40-33, Gian is 43-30, and then Frank is 32-41. So we are going to go and get into next week's picks because
Oh, right.
we're getting down
I
to it,
could go
boys.
15-0 this week.
No, I'm going 15-0. If you want to copy my picks and go 15-0, I'm cool with that. But Gian, you are not allowed to.
All right, Ethan, you and I have to do the same play or the same.
Hey,
Picks.
I'm not picking what you tell me to pick because I'm picking my own picks here. Hey, I'm gonna recycle what Gian said. Just pick the right game, pick the right winner, pick the right one.
Yeah, just pick the right one.
Pick the right one.
Don't do it just to get one over, man. You gotta pick the right one. You gotta help the people. You gotta help them.
All right, I'm gonna go first. So that way, whenever you guys agree with me, I can say that it's because you're copying me. But the first game is Jaguars at Jets. The Jaguars are favored 1.5. I'm picking the Jaguars. Who are you picking, Gian?
It's obviously the Jaguars. I think the Jaguars are running away with this one. Giants struggled a bit against Washington Commanders. It wasn't the most
No, it's
fantastic Sunday night game.
Jaguars at Jets.
Jaguars at Jets. Oh, I thought it was the Giants. Oops, my bad. I'm reading this wrong. So, regardless, Jaguars.
Yeah.
Jets. Zach Wilson's back. Again, we saw how amazing the Jets were with Mike White for a little bit. Zach Wilson's back. A lot of injuries on that team. Give me the Jags. Trevor Lawrence is hot. That whole team is hot. They have weapons everywhere. Give me the Jags. Jags.
What about you, Frank? Jags or Jets?
I'll say the Jags. I don't have any faith whatsoever in Zach Wilson. So,
The only faith I have in the Jets is that their defense is super good, but yeah, they're not going to score.
but
So I
Quentin
can't bet on
Williams is
them.
out still, right? So,
Yeah, all right. Next game is New York Football Giants at the Minnesota Football Vikings. Vikings are favored by 3.5 points. Now, this seems easy. Vikings win, but they've been winning by a very small amount of points lately. Like, they beat the Colts in the greatest comeback in football history and still didn't cover the spread. So, I don't know. Giants are pretty good. They beat the Commanders. They've pretty well locked a playoff spot down unless they lose out. So, what do you think? Vikings or Giants?
I'm taking the Vikings. I mean, you can't go wrong here with the Vikings. They need one more game to solidify their standing, and I just think, and they also want to try to see if now that the Eagles have Jalen Hurts hurt, why not take a shot to try to get that first seed bye in the playoffs? I think it'd be beneficial to them. They're going to go all gears in and everything. Give me the Vikings. Give me the Vikings.
Yeah, I'm taking the Vikings as well. The exact same reasons you just said. I think that they're going to kick their ass and harder now that they have a chance to get that number 1 seed, to get that bye week going into the playoffs. And I think that after their comeback last week, they're probably riding high on how good their offense is when they play well. So I think that they go in there and they beat the Giants by probably a touchdown. I don't think it's going to be a blowout because they never blow teams out. But I think, 5, 6, 7 points isn't unreasonable for them to beat the Giants, especially at home, you know? So I'm going Vikings minus 3.5 as well. What about you, Frank?
I'll take the Vikings as well. I originally had thought that they were going to be our bum of the week at the beginning of the game.
Yep. I did too. I was already writing up notes about how they're stupid, and then they came back. Man, and bettors made a lot of money. So there are several people who bet on them to win at halftime, and the odds were insane. So props to you guys for making money on that. Not a bad bet. Good for you guys. But moving on to the Saints at Browns. This is a tough one because both teams suck. Saints at Browns. Browns are favored to win by 2.5 points.
I'll go with the Saints. I don't see. I mean, against even a halfway decent team in the Texans, the Browns' offense struggled. I don't see their offense doing any better. I think the offense for the Saints is better than what the Texans have, and better than what the Ravens have. So I think
the thing is, I think that it's a very low-scoring game. But the thing is, both offenses suck.
Yeah,
that's the
true.
problem. Yeah. They suck. They're horrible. Both
it's
of
just
them.
Which offense sucks less.
I think the Saints have a better offense, but the Browns have a lot better of a defense.
That's true.
I don't think the Browns score. The Browns might score 1 touchdown, and the Saints might score 1 touchdown. It's just tough. This one's probably one of the tougher games to pick, just because they both suck. You know.
You can flip a coin. Honestly.
Yeah, I might just flip a coin here, dude. It's tough.
I agree because I mean Browns right now. I'm looking at their injury report. Nick Chubb questionable with a foot injury. Myles Garrett illness. David Njoku
Saints.
Jadeveon Clowney. Yeah,
I'm going Saints plus 2.5.
Jeez,
because here's the thing.
Copying my picks.
Did you pick Saints?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll write Saints. I didn't hear you. Thing is, it's a win-win for me because I don't want the Saints to win the division. So if they lose, then I win personally. But if they win this game or cover the spread, then I win the picks. So boom, we are good. So when you bet against your team, what about you, GM? What are you picking? Browns, Cleveland Browns, or the New Orleans Saints?
The Brownies.
I want to pick the Browns, but I mean the Saints is the safer play here.
The Browns are at home.
Yeah, I understand, but I mean, I would.
That means nothing.
Picking the Browns if Jacoby Brissett was the quarterback. In all honesty, if Jacoby Brissett was there, I'd already be all in on the Browns. But with all the injuries, Chubb being hurt to an extent, I mean, it's questionable.
I mean, their offense struggled last week. You saw what they did against a garbage fire of a Ravens team, right? So
you're going.
What'd they score? Like 13 points.
Yeah, so I'm going Saints. Yeah, because I mean, if you can't plow and just demolish either the Texans or the Ravens, Saints have a better defense. I gotta go with the Saints.
All right, Lions at Panthers. The Lions are only favored by 2.5. That's easy for me. Lions by 2.5.
Easy.
I feel like that's something that we're all probably gonna agree on. Is
same.
Yeah, Lions.
Same. Yeah, Lions.
Yeah, we all think we'll have them winning out, and especially the Panthers that suck. I mean, they've been playing well, I guess, kind of the past couple weeks, but yeah, Panthers suck. The Lions are freaking broiling right now. Moving on, Bengals at Patriots. Bengals are favored by 3.5 points. I feel like that's honestly kind of a tough spread because I think that it's a close game, but the Bengals win. But it could be by a field goal, and then they,
Is it 3 points or 3.5 points?
3.5. So if they win by a field goal, we don't win. They have to win by more than that.
Jeez.
They have to win by more
that's
than 3
tough.
points. Yeah, that is tough.
Yeah.
That's my thing, dude. I feel like that's a good spread for right there. I'm going Bengals. I think the Bengals are sneakily becoming like a top 3 team in the NFL. Like they've been freaking dominating the last.
Well, now that Jamar Chase is back.
Oh yeah, they're kicking ass right now. I got Bengals minus 3.5.
I'll take the Bengals too. I don't see the Patriots doing anything this week.
Give me the Bengals.
Dudes, you guys got to stop copying me. I'm never going to get ahead that way.
They're just too easy to pick this week.
Yeah, this week is a little bit easier. It seems like there's not like any massive spreads that are like, oh man, who knows? Like the Chiefs Texans one that we all bummed up last week. Here's an interesting one: Bills at Chicago. Bills are favored by 8.5. That's a pretty big spread, but it's the Bills. But they're in Chicago, and Justin Fields is healthy, and Montgomery went off last week. So 8.5. I could see him losing by a touchdown and covering that spread.
Yeah, I'll take the Bears. I don't.
You were just saying that to get me to pick the Bears, Ethan.
No, I don't know who I'm picking. I don't know. I'm gonna hear what you guys say and do some analysis.
I'm taking the Bears. I don't care if Ethan's trying to trick people with what he's saying. I don't see the
dude. I'm not. The Bears covered last week. I mean, like the Bears are good, dude. Like I mean, they're not good. Like they're gonna make the playoffs, but they're good enough to not lose by 10 points.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially at home.
I think that's too big of a spread, so I'm taking the Bears.
8.5.
I think.
What have the Bills been doing the past few weeks?
I do want to say the wind was a factor in the previous game over at Soldier Field with the Eagles, because like it was to the point where they would kick the ball like down the middle and it would just sway from one side to another. It was a very windy game this past weekend. So you know what? I don't want to do this. Give me the Bears.
Gian, come on, pick the Bills.
Give me the Bears.
Go with your gut.
I don't know. But my gut says Bears.
I picked the Bills. I'm probably going to bite it in the ass in that one. I feel like the Bears probably cover. But I think that the Bills right now, they're kind of neck and neck with the Chiefs for that number 1 seed in the AFC. So I think that they're playing their asses off the rest of this year. I don't think they're taking it easy just because they locked themselves a playoff spot. So I think they're going to go out there and kick some ass. But moving on, this is another, I think, kind of tough one, is Texans at Tennessee Titans. Titans are favored to win by 5.5 points. At home for the Titans, 5.5, decent amount of points, but the Titans have sucked lately, and the Texans kicked ass last week. They still lost, but I mean, they barely lost against the Chiefs, man.
Not to mention tons of injuries for the Titans over the course of this past week's game.
I'm picking Texans. I'm going Texans. Yeah. For the only time I will ever pick the Texans, I'm picking Texans plus 5.5.
I'll take the Texans. So,
what are you picking, Gian?
Give me the Titans.
Titans, all right.
I don't believe they're done yet. I feel like the Titans, they could win this one. They're gritty.
I could see them winning.
I think Mike Vrabel has a point to prove with him staying and their GM leaving. Those couple weeks ago, whenever that happened, I think that he has to prove that he was the one to be keeping around rather than the GM, because they had that whole beef, the squabble.
That's true.
Going on. But I mean, I don't think he's been doing that so far. So,
all right. Seahawks at Chiefs. Chiefs favored by 9.5.
It's a big spread.
It is. If it were at home for the Seahawks. If it were at home for the Seahawks. Oh, this is tough. Okay, so Gian Chiefs, Frank Seahawks. This is tough for me because if it was at home for the Seahawks, covered. I'm like 9.5 is too many points. But they're at the Chiefs Stadium. The Chiefs, I think, in terms of like home field advantage, they have one of the best because the Chiefs' kingdom is so loud.
Do you think they're going to win by a touchdown and a field goal?
I think they're going to win by 2 touchdowns, in all honesty. Seahawks, they're getting out of the playoffs. This is part of their downhill spiral.
Yeah, no, I'm going Chiefs as well for what you're saying and what I just said about the Bills. Since they're competing for that number 1 spot, I think that they go out there, and especially coming off of a risky one against Texans, they got something to prove right now. They're going to go out there and kick some ass. Atlanta Falcons at Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens are favored by 7.5.
That's another way too big spread.
I'm taking the Falcons.
Yeah, I'm taking the Falcons as well.
We're all picking Falcons plus 7.5?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because even though Desmond Ridder didn't play well, they still barely lost to the Saints, and they covered. So I think that he plays better this week because got some more reps in, and that run game is just too strong with the Falcons. So I think that's a pretty easy one. Washington Commanders at San Francisco 49ers. Niners are favored by 7.5. I'm picking Niners. Easy. I love the Niners. They're winning by more than 7.5 against the Commanders.
Agreed. I'll take the Niners.
What you doing,
Brock
John?
Purdy time. The peppermint fresh boy.
You picking the Commanders? You think they got a little fight left in them?
No, I can't pick against Kyle Shanahan. Give me the 49ers. I can't go against Kyle Shanahan.
Can't do it, dude. All right.
No.
Eagles at Cowboys. The Cowboys are favored to win, surprisingly. 4.5 points. I don't know
Give me the
why.
Cowboys.
Okay.
We'll take the Eagles because Dallas Goedert's back.
I need to do some research here. This is gonna be. It's gonna be a tough one.
Is Jalen Hurts for sure sitting?
It's not for sure, but already on the fantasy app they have him at 0 points. Jalen Hurts has got a shoulder sprain, and then on top of that, I mean, it's not that I don't trust Gardner Minshew, but the Eagles could afford to sit Hurts for a couple of games and make sure he's ready for the playoffs. Yeah, and then the Cowboys, they need to play catch up. I feel like this is a game the Cowboys go all tips in, especially after a devastating loss to the Jags.
Yeah, that's true. I'll change my bet to the Cowboys, actually.
I hate that you did that, Frank. I don't know. I feel like Gardner Minshew, man. I think he's one of the better backups in the league. He's not as good as Jalen Hurts, obviously, but I don't know, man. Favored to lose by 4.5, and they beat the Cowboys by 9 last time they played. This is tough, dude.
No, I'm taking the Eagles. I see. Yeah, sorry.
No, I haven't
You can
written
take
anything
Dallas,
down for you
Ethan.
yet. I never write yours down until I've already moved on to the next one because you change so often. So you're fine. Keep changing, dude. Do what you got to do.
I'm taking the Eagles. I think if Dallas wins, it'll be by a field goal, maybe. I think they just eke this out. I don't think that it's going to be by a touchdown.
Ugh. I don't know, dude. This is so tough for me. Because the Cowboys are either going to obliterate the Eagles or get their ass kicked. I don't think it's a close game either way. I think that they either come out and Pollard's going to get 200 yards and 5 touchdowns like he does some games, or they're going to get shut down and only have 80 rushing yards total for the whole team.
Yeah.
I think that... I'm going to go Eagles. I'm going Eagles. I hate the Eagles. No, I can't. Dude, I don't know. Because I said the Eagles are going to start losing games. I gotta go Eagles.
So what's it gonna be?
No, the Eagles suck last week against the Bears, dude. Oh,
It was a windy game. Very windy game.
dude, this is so hard. This is such a tough pick. I'll go Eagles. Whatever. I'll go Eagles. I don't like that pick at all. I hate it, but I'll go Eagles. All right, Raiders at Steelers. Raiders are dogs, underdogs.
I'm
Steelers
taking the
are favored to win by
Steelers.
2.5. You said you're taking the Steelers, Frank?
Yeah.
What about you?
Oh, this is tough.
Vegas.
The Raiders
played
struggled
well last week.
against the...
Give me the Raiders. I think it'll be a tight game, and maybe the Raiders can pull some magic. Now that Darren Waller's back, too, by the way.
How have the Steelers? The Steelers have played like decent the past couple weeks, haven't they?
They've played decent.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's going to be a close game.
The Raiders
Especially,
have too.
The Raiders have also been playing decent. Last 4 games are 4-1. They
Yeah, I'm gonna go Raiders.
Technically have a chance at the playoffs. So.
I think I'll go Raiders. I think that's going to be one of those teams that barely misses the playoffs because they couldn't get it together quick enough, and this is a game that they win to piss off their fans.
I mean,
yeah, Mike Tomlin
this
at
is
home, though, that's tough.
crazy, though.
Mike Tomlin
Like,
at home.
because think about the team that they have. And think about what their expectations were at the beginning of the season.
Oh, yeah,
and
dude.
think
People
about
were
where they're at
thinking-
now.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that was the whole.
It's like
AFC
Super Bowl or
West.
bust, and they just busted.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna
the
lie.
entire honestly, that could be our bum of the week at the end of the season, AFC West.
Bum of the season. No, not gonna lie, I genuinely thought that there was a decent chance for the AFC West for every single one of those teams because on paper, all those teams are
Oh
pretty
yeah,
stacked.
all of them are stacked.
All of them for them to all make it to the playoffs.
Thing is, if you put any of those teams in the NFC South, they all make the playoffs. Even the Broncos
Yeah,
that
true.
suck. If they were in the NFC South, like take out the Bucks, put them in there, they're winning all 6 divisional games, and they can win another like 2 or 3 random games to get in there. Yeah, but
Yeah.
all right, moving on. We got Green Bay at Miami. Green Bay plus 4.5. Dolphins minus 4.5. Gian, are you picking the Packers here?
Give me the Fins.
Give me the Fins, even though you said
You
earlier. You said earlier the Packers were going to win this game.
Yeah.
I did. Give me the Fins. We're winning.
All right, Fins minus 4.5. I'll pencil it in for you, Dion. What about you, Frank?
Never go against my team.
I can't go against what I said with the Dolphins possibly missing the playoffs. So
you're picking
I think
Packers?
Yeah.
I completely forgot. Here's the thing. I thought we were playing at Green Bay. I didn't realize this was a home game. Green Bay is going to be out of their element. Give me the Fins.
I don't think it matters, at least in my opinion. I'm picking the Fins either way. I don't think the Packers are making the playoffs, so I think they lose most of the rest of their games. So yeah, I got Dolphins minus 4.5 easy. All right, I think this is probably a tough pick. Broncos at LA Rams. Broncos are favored to win by 2.5 points.
I think Baker has a revenge game and they win by a field goal. So give me the Rams.
Okay, what about you, Gian?
I'm having Broncos. They seem to be riding a bit of some sort of high. Jerry Judy's been playing phenomenally the last couple of weeks. Give me the Broncos. I really think their running game is getting together and their defense. I mean, come on.
Yeah, Latavius
Yeah,
Murray
give me-
last week. I'm picking the Broncos as well for the same reason. I think Latavius Murray is what is really bringing that together because he's actually a threat in the run game now, and he's not like a top 10 or even probably 15 running back, but he's enough of a threat that they have to watch out for him a little bit. So I'll go Broncos as well, minus 2.5. I think that's small enough of a spread. Next game is Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Arizona Cardinals. Tampa Bay is favored to win by 6.5 points.
Tampa, Tom.
I guess Tampa, just because strictly,
Yeah.
if they find a way to mess this up, then I mean Tom Brady definitely should retire.
I've got Tampa as well, and I hate to say it because I don't think that they're a good team. I don't think they deserve to make the playoffs. I don't think they deserve anything that's good. But the Cardinals quarterbacks combined last week for like 100-something yards, 0 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. The Cardinals suck. So Bucks minus 6.5. That feels just easy given how much they suck. Moving on. Chargers at Colts.
What's the line?
Minus 3.5 for the Chargers.
Oh, that's yeah. Give me the Chargers. Chargers
Yeah, that's
all
easy.
day on this.
Chargers all day. They're getting hot. They're going to keep winning.
Chargers all day. Yeah, Chargers are hot. Their offense is all together now. You have Big Mike, Keenan, Palmer, DeAndre Carter, Eckler.
Yeah.
Oh man, no, that offense. Everyone on that team is getting healthier. Even the defense is getting healthier. They're coming back. So Chargers.
All right, what about you, Frank? Chargers or Colts?
This is a tough one. I am going to go with what you guys said earlier. Pick the easy games. So I'll just take the Chargers.
Yeah, especially with
That's
Jonathan
easy.
Taylor being out.
Yeah.
But the Colts defense last week was really good and then really bad, so who knows?
Yeah.
Colts are fun to watch now. Anyway,
Yeah.
last game. Wait, no, that was the last game. Yeah, yeah, okay. That was the last game. Cool. That's all for the picks.
Very
the
nice.
Freaking thing I'm looking at is showing next week's games as well. So I was about to say Dallas at Titans, but that's not picks for this week. So that's our picks for this week. Very
That's the
similar on
episode.
most of ours. We picked a lot of the same picks this week, so next week's probably not going to be much of a change, but we'll see. There's enough of a difference that, I picked, I think, like 2 games different than Gian, maybe 3, so we'll see what happens. But either way, that's all. Thank you guys for watching. Beautiful people. Do your thing. Gian, go ahead.
Oh yeah, stay frosty, guys. Stay frosty, my friends. Like and subscribe. Be sure to follow us on all our socials, and peace and love, man. Yeah. thank you,
Comment
guys.
down below what you guys want to see more of, what you enjoyed. If you want to see us upload audio from this so you can listen to it in the car, upload more clips on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all that fun stuff. Let us know what you, the people, would like to see. And like Gian said, stay frosty.
Yeah.